The London Theatre Cast. Friends of officiallondontheatre.co.uk. In the spotlight.
First World War drama Warhorse premiered at the National Theatre back in 2007, where its blend of incredibly lifelike puppetry, striking images and moving story made it a hit with both the critics and the public. Its stunning use of puppetry also saw it win 2 Olivier Awards, and it was so much of a hit that it was revived at the National in 2008 and has just transferred to the West End's New London Theatre. Based on Michael Morpurgo's children's novel, it tells the story of Joey, a horse raised by young Albert Narracop, who's sold to the cavalry at the beginning of the First World War and shipped to France. Unable to forget his friend, Albert lies about his age to enlist and goes in search of Joey, but not before the horse has had an adventure of his own, serving on both sides before finding himself stranded in no man's land.
He's quite a horse, Albert, but for now his place is with the army.
At the recent West End opening, I caught up with Morpurgo to see what he thought of the stage adaptation and spoke to co-directors Marianne Elliott and Tom Morris to find out how they felt about their show's long journey. So it's been a long journey for Warhorse already. How does it feel for its opening in the West End tonight?
Oh, it feels fantastic actually. It was quite scary because we didn't really know how it would go down in the West End. And it's quite a big, old, risky piece of theatre, which is why we're so lucky it happened at the National, because it would never have ever have happened anywhere else. Nobody would have taken the risk, nobody would have spent the money. So it feels amazing, a really amazing end of story kind of result. Because when we first started, we all thought it would be impossible. In fact, when we were previewing the first time, we thought it was impossible.
I gather from speaking to Marianne Elliott that it was your idea in the first place to adapt Warhorse for the stage.
Yeah.
So is it even more gratifying that you've seen this idea through from actually its very conception to where it is now?
Yeah, but I mean, I think all good ideas have more than one source. So I knew the work of Handspring Puppets from the 90s when I first saw it. And I already knew that they were able to create puppets which an audience would believe were alive, which is a strange gift. They do it actually through this technique of not just through the brilliant design of the shape of the puppet, but in the manipulation of the puppet. All of their puppets actually breathe. They're breathing throughout any show that they're in, and it's a tiny thing that the audience may not even notice, but it's an extraordinary kind of alchemy comes out of that. So I'd been looking, I suppose, for a story that might suit their work, and for a story that might be able to be carried by a puppet. And I'd seen their work over a number of years, and then I was reading Michael Morpurgo's books, and actually my mum said to me, have you read the one about the horse in the First World War? And I said, oh, typical, my mum's come up with an idea, and read it, and I thought, well, this is great, this is fantastic. And then gave the book to Nick Heitner and said, read this chapter, which is a description of that charge, which is now in the show, the kind of charge in which the yeomanry are massacred. An extraordinary piece of writing by Michael Morpurgo. And I said, I think that we might be able to make a show out of this story using a puppet.
Have you got used to seeing your book transformed for the stage?
Yes, I got very used to it over the last, whatever it is, 2-3 years, and every time it's extraordinary. Tonight was the most extraordinary of the lot. I've never left the theatre after a performance without being profoundly moved by what they've done here. It's extraordinary.
Having seen it, obviously, you know the story better than anyone. Is there anything that you think they could have done better that you disliked about it, or not?
No, I mean, you're bound to with performances. There are some nights when something is better, the thing is synchronised better, one actor seems on more form than he or she was the night before. But tonight I thought it came together wonderfully well, and was so powerful and so sharp, and I felt the actors were right there, right on the edge, and I loved it.
And a lot has been said about specifically the puppetry and the design of the show, which I don't think really the West End's seen a lot like this in recent years. How does it strike you?
Well, what it's done, I think, it's a revolutionary play, this. What it's done is to show that the puppets don't need to be like auxiliary characters. That's the first thing. You don't need just to have them as quite an entertaining sideline. Neither do you have to have them simply looking pretty and gorgeous and telling a nice story. they can be used intelligently, sensitively, to tell the great stories, to tell the stories about the human condition, providing they are wonderfully crafted puppets and magnificently handled. And don't get me wrong, when I first heard that this was going to be, if you like, a puppet-centred play of my book War Horse, I was not thrilled. I thought to myself, hang on, pantomime horse, the centre of a story about the First World War, where are we going here? But I had that comment and that thought that I had was because I didn't know the people concerned. I didn't know Tom Morris at that stage, I didn't know Marianne Elliott, I didn't know Nick Heidner, and I certainly didn't know these two guys from South Africa, Adrian and Basil, and Handspring Puppets. When I saw a video of work that they'd done previously, it brought me to tears. So extraordinary are they at evoking animal life. But they do more than evoke animal life, because what they do is they tell us about our relationship with animals by becoming those animals. It's an extraordinary complex world which I've been privileged to be at the edge of, and I don't fully understand it, don't claim to understand it. All I know is it works because people come out of this theatre either silent and deep in thoughts, and thoughts that are going to last for a very long time, or in tears. Well, how does that happen? With bits of wood and people pulling levers. Excuse me, we all know them pulling levers, we all see them walking around. Why are we moved? I don't know.
Phoebe, arise, a gleam in her eyes, and the year turns round again. And like barley corn, who rose from the grave, new year will rise up again.
War Horse is currently booking until the 26th of September at the New London Theatre. You can find out more about the show at warhorselondon.com.
The London Theatre Cast.